All right, ladies and gentlemen, big changes to the 2025 Riot calendar, meaning that we only have 5 major regions now. The major regions have pretty much absorbed the minor regions, in particular LTA and LCP. LEC and LPL and LCK remains the same. The main difference is that for those who have watched, LEC are already familiar with this format, is that we are going to a 3-split system. The reason they are going to a 3-split system is to make the calendar globally the same, and at the same time give space and make way for a 3rd international event that is going to be at the beginning of the year. That international event is going to be the First Stand 2025, and this is an event with 1 team, 1 winner from each region. This is going to be a themed tournament, meaning that whatever theme is going to be in Winter Split is going to also be played here. So the main thing is that this time around is that Fearless is the big theme of everything. Meaning Fearless is that if you play a champ or a team plays a champ, it's going to be hard Fearless globally. Means that nobody can play it, which means it's very, very dynamic in terms of draft adaptation and so forth, especially in best of 5s. We've seen soft Fearless variants where if you play it, the comp, then the enemy can still play it. And we saw this in LPL, and it was kind of just traded back and forth, and that was mildly uninteresting. This is far better. Additionally, in terms of the changes for the major regions, LTA basically is 2 conferences. You have North Conference, South Conference, which means that 1 conference is CBLOL with 1 guest LATAM team and 1 guest team from the Challenger scene. So it's 6 CBLOL teams. And of course, for the North portion is 6 NA teams that have stuck around. And then you have 1 LATAM team and 1 guest team that qualifies through challenges and so forth. So that's cool. Of course, there's a lot lost because CBLOL was a growing, environment, and the fandom was very, very big and supportive of each and every team. But we're not going to go into this right now. LCP is basically like all of the regions in Asia outside of LPL and LCK. So you're going to have teams like the Talon Esports, who are no longer PSG, or like Vikings, or Softhawk Banks from Japan. You're going to have some Australian teams too. I believe that Chiefs are playing. So they've just absorbed all the minor regions. So now there's 5 major regions and a clear path to, of course, international events. Let's take a look at some of the formats. LEC Winter. LEC Winter is pretty much going to follow the same exact format that we did in the previous 2 years, meaning that Winter Split is going to be BO1s, which is crazy. I don't know who made the decision. I really don't like it. It's going to be the first 3 weeks of play is going to be BO1s because for me it doesn't make any sense because it's Fearless. Like Fearless is not going to be active at all, which really disrupts the practice process. It really disrupts the practice process completely. I really am not a big fan of this. I am very unhappy with this. Thank you very much, 3 more guys for the prime, for the sub, sorry. Appreciate that. So the first 3 weeks is going to be BO1s and then double elimination bracket, the usual. Win 2 BO3s, qualify, lose 2 BO3s, get out, right? And then you have the BO5s, and then it starts. It's exactly as it's been in the past. Nothing in peculiar. The changes for the format happens for Europe in Spring Split and also Summer. For the first one, nothing. So it's very sad, right? Fearless is not going to be active, and it's a major disadvantage because the practice process, of course, is very different for someone that prepares for Fearless. LPO basically has 4 groups. We have 4 groups. They're going to be playing a single round robin, best of 5. And then a bracket forms. Top 2 teams from each group go into a bracket. They continuously play BO5s through and through. This is lovely, right? You play Fearless, you have best of 5s through and through. Since it's a single round robin, it's going to be match score that decides, of course, the tiebreaker. And these are the groups for those who are curious. It is super cool. I like this type of format because it really leans into the fearless thing. I think the negative of this format is that you get to see some matchups that are less interesting, right? And maybe we will see teams not face up against each other. Another detail that LPL has implemented is that you pretty much have a circumstance where the side selection is determined by a 1v1. This is something that we saw in the Masia Cup, so that's going to be super cool. It's funny that these groups were made before anything else, but this group now, NIP, is rumored that Doinby is going to be joining, so that's super, super cool. And then IG, of course, is my favorite team on earth after the Roddy sack. Let's continue. LCK Cup, probably the most complicated format, but also, I think, personally, the best format. So basically, what happened was the groups have now been chosen. Is that the winner of summer was the leader of one group, and then the second place, of course, Genji, was the leader of one group. They would then pick teams into their group in a specific order. But the thing is, these teams are not facing up against, of course, you're not facing the teams in your group. You're facing the teams in the opposite group. So basically, in this context, Genji is playing a 1, BO3 against each and one of the teams in Group Baron. So it's kind of funny, right? Because How Alive winning summer, they could pick T1 first. I feel like the overall power in Group Elder, maybe across the board, on average is stronger. But being top heavy is also something that can be very fruitful in my opinion. You have to keep in mind that the way it works is that at the end of the group battle, the scores are going to be basically set up against each other. In the example that they showed in the video, basically you have one side winning 14 wins, and then you have, of course, let's say 14 wins, 11 losses, 11 wins, right? Let's say that's the distribution. Then 3 top teams in the winning group is going to automatically qualify to the next round. And then you have 6 teams qualifying then to play-ins. 6 teams qualifying to play-ins. Of course, that makes 9 teams, so there's already 1 team eliminated from the LCK Cup at this stage, meaning the team with the least amount of wins in the losing group is going to be eliminated. And then basically you follow the brackets in the usual LCK format is that the 4 lowest seeds need to play a qualifying match, and then the 4 teams remaining in the play-ins or the playoff bracket are going to be playing double elimination. As you can see here, play-in, you have 14 wins, 15 wins playing against each other, 13 wins versus 16 wins. There is no double elimination here. It's usually the same thing in LCK playoffs, and then the double elimination starts. And then you have 3 more teams qualifying into playoffs, and then the same thing repeats. Playoffs is going to be best of 5s, that is the main difference, while every other stage is going to be best of 3. I really am excited about this format because there is a very big chance we're going to get repeated matchups. Very repeated matchups. And the matchups can be super interesting because in my mind, LCK, like the top 4 teams, are super exciting. If you think about like T1, How Alive, JNG, even Damwon to some degree, right? It's like you definitely have matchups that you want to see a lot of repetition of. But there could be a scenario here where, of course, due to a group qualifying 3 teams to, of course, playoffs right away, that there is going to be some discrepancies and maybe a team is going to fall out that we want to see more of early. But there's that. I think this is the most dynamic format. I like it a lot. I think it's very interesting because it gives me what I want. It trims the fat very early, and also we get a lot of best of 3s, a lot of best of 5s, and there's a high chance that we get a lot of cool matchups in my opinion. Probably the worst format of them all, LTA. So this is a format that then is going to be applying to both conferences, I believe. This is split 1. Maybe we just double check that split 1 is the same over here. No, it seems to be exactly the same. So basically, all matches are best of 3. All matches are best of 3, double elimination. There's a high chance that these teams are going to be pretty much be playing, some of them are going to be playing best of 3s, They're going to lose two games and be out of the tournament. And then they're going to have pretty much a 6 to 7 week vacation, which is insane to even think about. I don't know why they changed the name to LTA. I feel like LCS is a very encompassing name. There was this war between Riot Games and pretty much like basically EULCS and NALCS. They shared a name in the past, but the move into franchise, there was a big dogfight over that name. And then in the end, NALCS got it because it's like the flagship tournament that is based, of course, in LA, where the main office is and so forth. And this was kind of LEC's separation from the ULCS, because usually everything was done very same, and LEC then became its own, of course. To now see them move away to turn their name into LTA, which sounds like an off-brand of, let's say, like a 5G company, you know, that you have to call for 6 hours to figure out what the issue of your network provider is. LTA coming to you locally soon. Yeah, I don't like it too much. Nevertheless, the cool thing about this is that you're going to have cross-conference matchups, right? So you have best of threes all the way, or best of threes all the way, fearless as well, and then the cross-conference happens. But the cross-conference happens, this is going to be single elimination. Single elimination. In the first round, you're going to have North versus South Conference, and they're going to be playing off against each other. So that's like the only cool aspect. But I think that the logistical challenge of having, these teams face off against each other and the travel and so forth, that is what is bleeding into, of course, the format. This is bleeding into the format because they have to do everything in a very, very congested amount of time. So there's that, there is that. This is going to be the first cross-conference. It's going to be high. We're going to co-stream it. But I think in terms from a competitive standpoint, it is going to be quite bad. So the first one is in Sao Paulo, as you can see on the right. And the winner is going to qualify to first stand. Finally, I guess people might be curious, is NLC Winter. I think the NLC Winter format is pretty damn good, if you ask me. It's very streamer tournament coded, if I say so myself. Basically, the first group stage is going to be... Wait, this format is just wrong, I think. This is a lie. This is not... This is a lie. Okay, this is just outdated. I'm going to just do it a cappella. The format in the NLC is going to be 2 groups, single round robin BO1 to determine the seeding. And then it's going to be a playoff bracket with 10 teams, double elimination, best of 5, fearless through and through. Lose 2 best of 5s, you're out. Win like 4, and you've won the tournament. Unless you went through winner bracket, and I think it's just very simple, very clear cut. I like it. Applies fearless, rock and roll, And that's that. That's the format explained. I think LEC and LTA really have the worst formats by far. I feel like from a competitive standpoint, the LCK one and the LPL one are just super interesting and really allow us to explore the idea of fearless a lot, which I think is super nutritious and healthy for the longevity of the game. So if I made a tier list, I think like LPL, LCK, up there, I would probably put like LCK first, LPL second, and then probably like LEC just because they have BO1s makes it so ridiculous. But that is like being held up against a format that is, of course, just has BO1s.